Well, that's a wrap on the Pittsburgh Penguins 3-game road trip. The Penguins fall in the shootout to the Dallas Stars here at American Airlines Arena 3-2. Surprise, the Penguins lose in a shootout. I am Dan Kingerski on the Pittsburgh Hockey Now platforms, YouTube, Facebook. So do me a favor, like, subscribe, and do all of that to keep the channels going. So there are two very divergent storylines. A glass not half full or half empty, largely 3/4 full, but not all the way. And that was what the Pittsburgh Penguins were dealing with after the game. Dan Muse responding to the first question, a lot of good things, so on and so forth. And it's too raw right now. He's like, maybe when we look at it after some time, we'll see the positives. And I got the sense that even the locker room was not sure how to react. The Penguins led after 58 minutes. They largely, I would say, outplayed one of the very best teams in the NHL on the home ice here in Dallas. And yet, they don't get it done. Just a little bit of bad luck for the Penguins. They scrambled the Dallas Stars' very good defense several times. Had goalie Jake Ottinger, not Steve Ottinger, which I'm always prone to write, had Ottinger down and out several times throughout the game, not able to complete. And yet, in the final couple of minutes, they have the lead 2-1, also doing so without Evgeny Malkin in the lineup, who is day-to-day with an upper body injury. The fourth line, which was great, brilliant, all over the ice, all game long. Connor Dewar ices the puck. Dallas with the pulled goalie for almost 3 minutes. I mean, they pulled, Coach Glenn Gulletson pulls the goalie close to 3 minutes to go, and Dallas, something clicked. I mean, Dallas is a really good team. Take nothing away from them. I mean, they're keeping pace with the Colorado Avalanche. Don't lose sight of that. Without the goalie, with the extra attacker, Dallas brought a level of intensity that was almost overwhelming. You knew that goal was coming. Absolutely. It was just a matter of when. And with, a minute 50 to go, after about a minute or so of the extra attacker, Dallas gets the equalizer 2-2. Otherwise, Tristan Jarry, very good. There were several noteworthy performances, which we will get to. But let's talk about the Penguins in overtime and the Penguins in the shootout. They're now 0-4 in the shootout. They're 1-2 in overtime. They just have not played well enough anyway, in extra time. There's a myriad of reasons that could be, and we probably should do an entire podcast, live chat, or a special video just on that. But they don't get it done. Jarry has to make a couple of 10-bell saves. I mean, Dallas had a couple breakaways, including Jason Robertson. That can't happen. I know it's overtime. I know it's wild. I know it's chaotic chaos. But Jason Robertson can't get, a clean look like that at Tristan Jarry. Jarry makes the save. The Penguins get to the shootout. And here's maybe where Dan Muse might start to reconsider his traditional approach to this. Jarry stopped the first two shots, but the Penguins didn't score on any of their three. Brian Rust, Sidney Crosby, Chris Letang. I feel like at this point, and this is purely my 2 cents, and I want change back, that goalies know their moves. Sidney Crosby goes way wide to the left wall and cuts back to the center. Chris Letang, his shootout percentage has been falling over the last several years, where once it was closer to 40%, now it's, a solid 10% less as, But all three veterans, I must tell you, I think the kids are much better in these situations. Not just in a shootout, but also overtime. The Ville Koivunens and the Ben Kindles and the Rutger McGroartys, they're far more used to this whole new game than I think the Penguins veterans are. I think they've probably participated in, practiced, had more fun with shootouts than the Penguins veterans. I mean, some of the moves that, the Penguins kids can put on, like Koivunen and Kindle, they're a little bit next level. Actually, the best is down to Wilkes-Barre, Tristan Brose, but I digress. So there might be a change of thinking in order, switching to the young players in extra time. Regardless of my 2 cents, there clearly is a problem with the Penguins winning in extra time. They were terrible last year. What were they, 1-9 in shootouts and OT? And this year they're 1-6. So something probably needs to give, because of those 6 extra time losses, they've probably been the much better team in 4 or 5 of those. That's 4 or 5 points they've left on the table, and they certainly felt like they left another point. Now, the divergent view. The Penguins got 5 of 6 points on a very tough road trip. Philadelphia, winning record, big rivalry game. The Penguins basically manhandled them. The Penguins sort of got beaten up pretty good in Tampa, but they won. And they controlled a good bit of the play. They had the better of the play against Dallas. Maybe I won't say controlled, but they had the better chances. They had more chances, regardless of what natural stat trick says. The Penguins had more zone possession, more good chances, and unable to finish. Now, let's talk about some of the good performances. There's really nothing left to say about the game. They played well against a very good team. Take that and move forward, I think, is maybe the talking point for you and I. Good performances to note. Noel Acciari, his first game since November 3rd, hair on fire. And that's a good thing. He was all over the ice. That fourth line was great until they got on the ice in the final minutes. It is their job to close out the game. They got caught on the ice, pinned in. Connor Dewar icing keeps that fourth line on the ice for more than 90 seconds. They're gassed. Dallas gets the goal. It's unfortunate. It's just one of those things that happens when a team really elevates. But again, that is the fourth line's job to close out that game, or at least get off the ice, intact. They didn't do that. On the report card, I gave them an A- because of that final shift. Justin Brazeau was pretty good. I'm not going to say he was great. It wasn't his best game as a Penguin. He hasn't played since October 30th, but he was pretty good. The standout performance amongst the Penguins forwards, or maybe the biggest surprise, was Tommy Novak playing on Sidney Crosby's wing. And you will hear in the latest No Pucks Given podcast released on Monday morning, we kind of bagged on him playing on Crosby's line, and yet he elevated his game to fit the situation very well. Novak was on the wall. He was distributing the puck. He played in the middle of the ice. It's where he got his goal. But actually, he did a lot of work to set that goal in motion. So he earned that. And it was kind of funny. You may have seen him on television with the media scrum, but I talked to him for a couple of minutes before everybody came. And once I saw the other reporters and the cameras going, I'm like, hey, thanks. We'll pick this up another time. I had no desire to be, kind of taking turns asking questions Sunday. I really had some other questions for other people I wanted to get to and not share time. Dan doesn't like sharing. I didn't do well in preschool. But, so Novak plays really well, and it worked. So the bad grades that I delivered on Sunday were the defensemen, exclusively the defensemen. Because the third line, I think I mentioned Koivunen, Kindle, McGroarty, they were great. A+ on the report card, by the way. Not just for how they distributed the puck and moved away from the puck and all the creative things and the pressure they created in the offensive zone, but how they played in the defensive zone as well. They had 7 shots on goal. You know how many they allowed? 0. Now, the bad grades I want to get to. It might have been Ryan Graves' worst game of the season. He was just a bit of a mess. He was trying too hard to make something happen Sunday. He got caught up the ice a few times, some passes intercepted. It wasn't his game. Unfortunately for him, his D partner, Matt Dumba, was every bit as chaotic. That third pairing did not stabilize or quiet the game. They were actually on their heels. They were a bit of a weak spot. Other bad grade, first time I think this season I've issued a bad grade to Parker Wotherspoon. Too many hurried puck plays, too many, just hot potatoes and slightly out of position here, slightly out of position there. Obviously Dallas is a really good team. They don't make mistakes, and that puts a lot of extra pressure on the defensemen. And the Penguins D, they were on the struggle bus. There's no question about that, at least for the first 30 minutes. Maybe in the last 30 minutes, Ryan Shea and Crystal Tang were solid, and Erik Karlsson, after some early turnovers. For the third time in 3 games, the Penguins give up a glorious scoring chance on the very first shift. That has to they've got to tighten that up. But Karlsson did tighten up his game, started sidestepping forecheckers and showing that agility and the straight-ahead speed after that. He began to look really good. And Crystal Tang, actually, can't tell you that he made a mistake on Sunday. Perfectly solid and did his job. And Tristan Jarry, well, he was really good. So that's it. Road trip over. Moved my flight up to 7 a.m. out of Dallas. So I actually will land in Pittsburgh around 10:30 or so and head to practice. The Penguins, to my knowledge, have not yet canceled practice. So I will see you in Cranberry Monday. Like, subscribe, and I appreciate all of you following along. And I was getting some looks on the Dallas Metro. But I was watching the Steelers game, so I appreciate you not interrupting that tense final few minutes. Kids, it's been a blast on this trip. I'm looking forward to getting home, and hey, have fun.